jeder seines besten Blutes fühlen und dieses wissend zur Führung der Nation erhoben hat und entschlossen ist, diese Führung zu behalten, wahrzunehmen und nicht mehr abzugeben.
So there you go, everybody. There you go, everybody. This is Darko 2012 here with Global Government News. And hey, maybe I should start talking like this is the right-wing radical extremist Darko 2012 here, forming up the militias here. And you see I'm being sarcastic, but you know, this is the truth. And they're saying that this is the mind control, right? This is the divide and conquer strategy that I talk about all the time. So if you're against wild, rampant, rogue, hijacked federal government, well, you're a racist, right? You're a white supremacist. So what I'm going to say here is that this is getting totally ridiculous, guys. And I have to go on a limb here and say, to all those that are conservatives, and even because it's not all conservatives, right? They lead us to believe that it's all conservatives, although it may be mostly liberty-minded, conservative people, individuals, mostly just middle-class individuals, Americans that go to these tea parties. But you know, yeah, there are also some Democratic liberals there as well. But you know, this is about co-opting an entire movement, right? And now you have Sarah Palin, now you have Glenn Beck, and you have all these non-grassroots corporate entities taking over the party. And it's not just taking over now, they've been doing it for the past year or so. And this is an important issue because this is how the true conservatives are going to be attacked. They're going to be called racist. And so we have to at least look at what they're talking about. This is a very important turning point in our history, especially for the elites, for the global elites, because think about it, right? What they want is a communist, socialist, global fascist model, a system, right? Ultimately, technocracy, a scientific dictatorship. So they put in Obama, they had Bush, right, who's just totally neo-fascist. They had Clinton, and I can go on and on, all the way back to freaking Abraham Lincoln was a fascist. So, and you can argue and debate with me on that issue, but it was, right? Even to the time this country was created, it was constantly under debate whether we were going to be, you know, federalist or anti-federalist, right? You're either for a big federal government and a big treasury and spending and debt and all that, or you're a Jeffersonian, right? You're either a Hamiltonian or you're a Jeffersonian. And so let's try to look at ourselves as Jeffersonians and not Republicans anymore. And although he did, you know, promote, you know, Republicanism, because that term Republican is getting confused somehow with neo-fascism and neoconservatism, which isn't conservatism, it's fascism. It's National Socialism, which is what Hitler used, right? He dubbed it National Socialism. That's where you get the acronym Nazi. So this is an important turning point here in our history because the elites and the global powers that be know that the Democratic Party, as far as 2012, is done. They're cooked. They're gone. And so they realize, they understand, because they've been playing these two-party systems off and co-opting them for at least 50 years to 100 years. So this is an important part in our history, and I say this because they have to be able to control this peaceful revolution, this peaceful transfer of power, right? Which normally takes place between republicanism and Democrats, a democracy. And which usually takes place, and that's fine, and that's what's so great about our country. But their system, their model is based mostly in a democratic aspect with big federal government. And so when this transfer goes to the Republicans, which are most likely going to win, it's not going to be a libertarian, and I wish it was. It's not going to be an anarchist. It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be a Republican, and that's the most corporatized party there is besides the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. And so they want to be able to control this transfer. And so you have legitimate conservatives that are into conservatism, right? They're into small federal government and less spending, right? And leaving the money into the pocket of the individual to do with it what they will. It's called self-determination. It's what the revolution in 1776 was all about. And then that's when the Hamiltonian dynamic theory came in, where it was like, well, yeah, we had the revolution and for individualism and all that, but we don't really need it now. We need to kind of look over and take care of the children, right? And they created the Treasury Department. They were able to issue currency by taking on debt, and that's how it all started. So this has been a constant actual struggle revolution since 1776. So what my recommendation is for all of you who are liberty-minded and who are conservatives, true conservatives, I would recommend to abandon the Tea Party movement altogether. Just leave it, right? Because as long as you keep participating in this corporatized, non-grassroots anymore Tea Party movement, it's not so much a movement anymore, right? It's kind of you're just kind of like a herd of sheep now, right? And you're just being made fun out of. So if you want to be a part of that, then go right ahead. And you can feel like you're changing something, but you're actually starting to help hurt the movement, the real movement, right? It's good to go out there and voice your opinions, but be creative, right? Like our forefathers, be creative, be innovative. Think of new ideas to get the word out, right? Come up with a catchy, a catchy slogan that will be totally separate from the Tea Party, quote, movement, right? Because there is just nothing but crap being hit or thrown or shot at that whole movement. It's dead. It's a dead duck in the water. I would just leave it alone. Because like I said, when I went there, I saw people walking around that didn't look like they fit in. They had the shaved haircuts. They had, the 6'4" dudes with the sunglasses walking off to their military, not military, but their unmarked car with government plates. So they're there. They're watching you. They're having you sign in when you go to these stupid things. And I didn't sign in. And so create your own movement, create your own innovative way to get the word out and to show people what true conservatism is, because otherwise you're just going to be labeled some kind of white supremacist, racist. And I'm going to make this into two parts because this is such a big deal. I'm going to be able to read this story, and then I'm going to show you some of the comments that have been left on a couple of my videos. Because I think there's a lot of confusion here as far as what this party is, what it originally is, and what it's going to be, which is totally hijacked, like the federal government, right? So, yeah, they have a poll here, and it says, "What is the Tea Party movement about?" And it says, "Small government and fiscal responsibility," 16%. "Exposing Democrat social agenda," 1%. Says voicing outrage at out-of-touch politicians, 6%, and then fruitless mix of racism, conspiracy theories, 76%. Other, 1%. And this was a Fox News poll. This is a Fox News poll. And I don't consider Fox as being conservative, and I just want to point that out. I think they're just as corporate and fascist as the CNN, as the MSNBC, and I think that they are the same people like Glenn Beck and all them that are co-opting this real movement, this legitimate movement. So like a ship that's floating in the ocean, jump ship. Just let that ship hit an iceberg and let it go down on its own, because that's what it will do. You're just feeding into it. Join me, please, for part 2 of this.